Hi everyone, it's Cherie from Paper Pieces and Leftovers, and as promised, we are going to put this little guy together at the end. I got him set aside in the bucket, and we're going to start with the little girl. So the colors that I started with, the light pink here is going to be Basil in the color Fluffy, and it is not the weave texture, it's the wave texture, so it only runs from left to right instead of the crisscross. And for the darker pink, I used American Crafts color Taffy. My brown, of course, is American Crafts Caramel, and the peach is American Crafts Peach. My smooth white for the eyes and smooth black, it can be any brand, it really doesn't matter. I do interchange them. Sometimes I'll use what I have stashed away from Hobby Lobby, and other times it'll be from what I've ordered from a 12 by 12 cardstock shop. So I went ahead and did the little boy to this file yesterday. It is from MarjorieAnnDesigns.com, and the file is called Fluffed with Love. This file portion is just called Girl. I don't know why Bird Box comes to mind when I say girl. And I just watched Bird Box again the other day while I was listening to my TV while scrapbooking, because I watch reruns, as I said. I've already seen it, so I don't have to visually see it to know what's going on, and I guess that's where my comfort is, so I'm not bored. I can't sit and not have noise. So if there's a video playing that there's not a lot of talking, like an interrogation, or even some people that do the card making, I end up finding somebody that talks a little more just because I like the interaction. I don't know about you guys, that's just my preference. I even sleep with the TV on, partially also because if a fly gets in the house and goes near my dogs, they start barking. They bark at everything. They're, as you guys know, one is a teacup chihuahua and the other is just a toy because she's a little over 5 pounds. But anyhow, I imported the girl at a width of 11.0. It auto adjusted the height to 10.163. And for the base, what you're going to do is you're going to start with the socks and then the shoes. There's going to be the little pieces that go on the front of the shoes, like my grandma used to call them saddlebacks. It's a lighter strip that's going to go in the front of each of the shoe, the left and the right, and then there's going to be a white piece that goes over, and then the sole. So just pay attention here. So you're going to put the legs on, and then the socks, and then the shoe pieces, and now these little saddleback pieces. I don't know what they're called. The pinstripes to the shoes. That might be where the tongue goes. I don't know. They're super cute either way. It gave the shoes a lot of personality, I noticed, and that's one thing that I did like about this file, on top of it being Franklin. Having Franklin be in a miniature version, that is just my slice of cake in this world. As you guys know, I love Franklin. So with this, one thing that I do want to point out is when you put the white part on the shoe, because now you're going to build up a thickness, pinch that off as close as you can get it to the base so you don't end up having a gap where the sole goes over. And that's just because my first one I did, I had a gap in between the base and the sole, so I had to figure out how not to have that because I don't want it catching on anything or coming off completely because it did catch on something. And I don't want it bending backwards and ripping the actual shoe because I caught it on something. So just word to the wise. I mean, this is things that I've picked up over the 20 some odd years of scrapbooking. There is another thing with the sock. As I've said before, my OCD does not let me do some things. Her left sock is a lot smaller than her right sock. So I duplicated the sock and flipped it. If you don't know what that is, you can just put the one right sock on the mat and then mirror it and cut it out for the left if it drives you insane like it does me. The only thing is you'll have to snip off the little spot that the base protrudes from, because the left sock is wider but it's a lot shorter, and I struggled with getting it at the same height as the right sock. And if I went up to make it even, then it wasn't below the shoe line, but then if I went lower, then it was just really like My brothers used to roll their socks down way long ago. We're all in our 40s now, just about. But my brother used to roll his socks down, and that's what it reminded me of. So I do voiceovers because I do put everything in fast forward just because I don't want to take up anybody's time. I want to, me personally, get the piece going, get it together, and move on. I don't want to sit somewhere for an hour trying to get through the piece. And I don't want to hold anybody up because everybody's time is as important as mine is. So that's part of why I do it. And also, if I lose my train of thought, the voiceover automatically is coming because I don't want to sit there in silence and you guys just kind of figure out what I'm doing. So that being said, glue the shirt on before you glue the light pink skirt and then the dark pink skirt. I just snipped the little corners off because this is the second one I did. I did it right on the first girl, but not on this one. Now you won't have that piece that I glued down to the bottom of her chin. And that is because yesterday I explained it's not her chin. I just said it again. It's her neck. I thought it was the chin for the longest time, and I was always looking for the mouth that went to it, like an open mouth laughing, because of the way that it grooved down. And it's just the way that the designs are made, which is fine. And I had been cutting it off the whole time thinking it was the chin instead of the neck. But now that I know, I'm going to leave it alone. So don't worry about that other piece that you saw me glue onto the bottom of her chin, which would be her neck that I had to make because I cut it off. So the belt goes on over. There is going to be a little gap between her shirt and the skirt, and the belt covers that. And then there's a little lip on her skirt where the shirt, there's almost like a cliff. Her hand is going to cover that, so don't worry about it. Your peaks on your shirts are going to go, the largest peak is going to go at the shoulder, and then the slope in the lower peak is going to be on the inside of her shirt in the back. And I did have them reversed and they looked funny. So just kind of look at how the peaks are and the straight edge of the sleeve versus if you do have them backwards, you'll have the shoulder and then you'll have like a dislocated shoulder and her bottom of her sleeve. I was like, no, that looks really wrong. So I just flipped them and reversed them and they were fine. I'm not talking about on the Cricut. I just flipped them and glued them on the opposing sides behind her shirt. Now this was the other tricky part. No matter how many times I tried to get that hair to cut out in Design Space, it was not happening. It had like little pieces where long triangles were cut out, so there was points at the end of the ponytail, which you'll, or the piggy tail, and you'll see it in the file. I imported a triangle into Cricut Design Space and then I melded it together after I resized it because my Cricut just would not cut those out. One of them is too fine, and so I had 3 pieces instead of 4 and I was having a big chunk missing. So the only other way to do that is to cut them off after you've cut it out and maybe hand cut some like loose ends onto it and glue it behind the little piggy tail. I don't know how silhouette cuts. You can give it a try, but I struggled with it, so that was just my way to improvise. So we are going to do the little Franklin bear, and I'm not going to detail it on camera just because of the fact I've done a couple of them. I've done a lot of them, I should say, and they all look different. It does not matter. I cannot get them to look identical. And so we're going to put it together. I'm going to show you guys how to put Franklin together. And here I glue the hand on Franklin's body and then I line it up with her arm. That way it's in the correct position anatomically. And that's where her hand is going to cover that little hip part of her skirt. So funny thing is, I had cut out all these bears and I thought I had Franklin's hands cut out. Those are his legs. Just FYI, don't be me. They are almost identical shapes to Franklin, the normal size, his hands. And I was looking for the legs all over and I was thinking I'm going to have to dismantle and splice this bear to have legs. No, Franklin's hands are his legs. The regular size Franklin. So You're going to put those down, and Franklin goes together the same way even in this instance. The only thing is he doesn't have feet, and I'm not gluing on his arm so his arm can go over the hand like I showed on the little boy. So you're going to glue down the legs and then the body, the ears, and then the ear pads. It doesn't matter if you use the pink or the beige, a straw color, whichever color is your preference for the ear pads, and the muzzle. I have ran it both ways. I do prefer the pink paper to the beige paper. So basically I like the pink inner ears over the beige inner ears, and that's just me. I've been doing it this way since I started making Franklin. Just because most of my teddy bears always had pink inner ears, so I think it's just a childhood a childhood memory that is relatable. Versus the beige ears, I think my bunny had one, but I'm in my 40s now. I don't remember every single little stuffed animal I had. The ones that I remember the most are my Popples and my Cabbage Patch Kids. But this file goes together pretty easy. Any questions, let me know. And have a good day, guys. Thanks for watching.